Good morning, students. Welcome to Lesson 4. How do you do? What is the difference between the cost of bread at the bakery and the cost of bread in the hands of the retailer? How do you determine the cost of a commodity in a factory and that in the market? Have you bought any commodity in the factory? This brings to our topic today, which is basic cost concept. The cost concept is the cost of resources used in the production of a particular commodity. The cost of producing any output is the value of the separate inputs used in its production. The cost from another angle as the value of an alternative output sacrificed in order to produce an output. This implies the sacrifice in order to produce a commodity. Now let's look at type of cost. We have fixed cost, variable cost, total cost, average cost, and marginal cost. Fixed cost is the cost that do not vary with the volume of production, and it is the amount of cost that goes on independently of output. Examples of fixed costs are buildings, machinery, and salaries for employees. Fixed cost is represented graphically as this. Vertical axis, which is Y, is represented by cost, while the horizontal axis, which is X, is represented by output. And the fixed cost curve is straight line, which shows that it does not vary. Now let's discuss on variable cost. Variable cost is the cost of production, which varies directly with the level of production. Examples of variable cost are raw materials, fuel, and power. This means that these costs vary directly with the quality of output. This is the graph of variable cost. The y-axis represents cost, while the x-axis represents output. If you look at the graph of variable cost, it is not a straight line. It is not in a straight line, which means that it varies as the output varies, as the quantity of output varies. Now let's look at total cost, average cost, and marginal cost. Total cost is the total cost of producing a particular commodity. Include all the expenditure involved in the combination of the necessary factors of production. Total cost is equals to fixed cost plus variable cost. Average cost is the cost of producing a unit of output. Average cost is equals to total cost divided by total output. That is AC equals to TC over Q. It is called a unit cost. Look at these examples. If it costs 500 naira to produce 25 pieces of chairs, the average cost will be calculated as follows. Average cost equals to total cost divided by total output. That is 500 over 25, which is 20 naira. Let's look at marginal cost. Marginal cost is the cost of producing an additional unit of output. Let's look at this example. If it costs 100 naira to produce 20 blocks and it costs 105 naira to produce 21 blocks, the marginal cost of producing the additional 1 block is 5 naira. It can be calculated as follows. Marginal cost equals to change in total cost over change in quantity. That is 5/1. And the marginal cost is 5. Look at these two graphs. This is the graph of variable cost curve and the graph of average cost curve. If you look at the graph of variable cost curve, you will see that the variable cost and the fixed cost are together in one graph. Fixed cost is constant. It does not vary. While the variable cost varies, and that is why it take up from 0 up and vary to the right hand side of the graph. And if you look at the graph of average cost, the graph it looks like a U shape, which shows that it varies too. This is the graph of marginal cost curve. The y-axis is cost, while the horizontal axis, that is the x-axis, is output, and the graph has a good shape. Total fixed cost is the cost of a firm which does not change as output change. For example, house rent, insurance, policy, cost of machines, among others. Mathematically, total fixed cost equals to total cost minus total variable cost. Total variable cost is the cost of a variable factor. It changes as production progresses. Examples: the cost of labor, raw materials. Mathematically, total variable cost equals to total cost minus total fixed cost, or total variable cost equals to average variable cost multiplied by quantity. Average total cost is the total cost per quantity. Mathematically, average total cost equals to total cost divided by quantity, or average fixed cost plus average variable cost. Average fixed cost is the total fixed cost per quantity. Mathematically, average fixed cost equals to total fixed cost divided by quantity, or average total cost plus average variable cost. Average variable cost is total variable cost per quantity. Mathematically, average variable cost equals to total variable cost divided by quantity. Now, let's discuss on short run and long run. Short run is a period that is not enough for necessary changes to be made in the use of factors of production. The cost of a firm within this period is called short run cost, and factor inputs are grouped into fixed and variable costs. Long run is a period that is enough for necessary changes to be made in the use of factors of production. The cost of a firm within this period is called the long run cost, and all factors input are variable. Now, let's look at distinction between economics and the accountant's view of costs. But economics sees cost as a foregone alternative, recognizes implicit cost and explicit cost, and believes that cost should include both direct and indirect sacrifices. For example, a businessman uses his private car to convey raw materials that cost 200 from the market to the factory site and the cost of fuel is 30 naira in the costing. To the accountant, the cost of raw material is only 200. To the economist, the cost of the material is 230 naira. This is the end of lesson 4. Let's take these exercises. Number 1, explain the cost concept. Number 2, illustrates fixed cost and variable cost. Number 3, distinguish between economics and the accountant's view of cost. Number 4, draw a graph of fixed cost and variable cost. If you are able to answer all these questions, it means that you really followed in this lesson. Else, replay the video to understand the assessment.